Then, before they even had a chance to finalize the bill and get it to the occupier's office, as soon as he knew there was a deal, not a very good one, by the way, he flies back to Hawaii and then signs it by auto pen from Hawaii. He couldn't even wait the extra, 2 hours it would have took to put the bill in front of him and sign it in person? I mean, really? What did he do? What did you do that kept you from getting the budget ready? Not that anybody would have voted for it, because, you've only offered 2 in the past 4 years anyway. You're supposed to do one every year, Barry. Come on now. Supposed to do one every year, and then Congress has to vote on it. He's offered up 2 in his previous 4 years, none of them on time, mind you, and neither one of them managed to get a single vote from either a Republican or a Democrat in either house. Why? Because none of the Democrats want to be associated with the obvious failures there. They know they won't be able to get reelected, and most of the Republicans are, even the rhinos tend to be a little bit to the right of where these spending recommendations are. They know if they sign off on the Obama plan for what he calls a budget, they can't get reelected. It would be putting a lead suit on, concrete galoshes, and hanging an albatross from your neck, trying to swim in a Ironman competition to get reelected. That's just not going to happen, ladies and gentlemen. But back to the point of being concerned. I know I can't be the only one concerned here when we're talking about a man who not only is he giving all this stuff away to the wrong people and ignoring the people here at home that actually need help, but he wants to extend rights to people who are here illegally. And he wants to extend rights to people who were picked up in the battlefield and taken to Guantanamo, while he's trying to take away basic, constitutional, fundamental, natural law, God-given rights from the American citizens. Does anybody have any clue how backwards this is? I know I cannot be out here alone in the wilderness being the only person saying this. I know you guys out there, even the Kool-Aid drinkers on the left, if any of y'all are listening, some of you have got to have noticed by now how backwards this seems to be. I want to take guns away from you because you're dangerous, but I want to give jets and tanks to the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt so they can use them against who? The only enemy they have in the region is Israel. Could we really, in the course of the next few months, and given the current rate of escalation things between Syria and Israel, certainly on the table, if that takes place, is Egypt going to stay out of it? No. Iran's not going to stay out of it. And I don't think Egypt will either. Egypt has already been accused of having militant aspects in their society, firing rockets into the Israeli borders already. Has that been actions authorized by the government, or is it just a few terrorists that managed to get close to the border? And I don't know. I'm not there. But I can tell you it certainly doesn't seem very likely that the Muslim Brotherhood cannot keep extremists, if they wanted to, away from the border. And it seems to me, ladies and gentlemen, that if you're an American, you have noticed by now that this man does not take any of his responsibilities here at the home front serious. They opened up discussions today on immigration reform with a Democratic congressman making the statement, I hope no one here is planning on using the word illegal immigrants because what we are talking about are citizens that are out of status. Yeah, that was Conyers, for those of you who haven't heard this. Citizens who are out of status. Well, they're citizens, certainly, of their native land. They are not citizens of this country. And they are not illegal immigrants either, Mr. Conyers. They are illegal aliens by the immigration terminology. Because to be a immigrant, that means you've actually came here under the legal mechanisms that are allowable for immigration. So, by definition, you cannot illegally do a legal action. So, under the terminology that is used in immigration law, these people are illegal aliens. They are not incumbent upon the land. They are not indigenous to our land. They are citizens of another sovereign nation. They are here without following the legal protocols for coming here, either for work purposes or for immigration purposes. They have broken the law. But see, the part of the problem is we have sent people to Washington and to our state houses who have no more understanding of the law and the laws they end up having to try and work with than your average high school janitor. And I'm not knocking on a high school janitor. I'm just saying you don't have to be well versed on the entire tax code if you're a janitor. You've got to know which cleaning chemicals to keep away from each other. You got to know which rooms are going to need the most attention. A lot of work goes in it. Tough job. Wouldn't want to do it. Being a congressman, much easier than being a janitor. Make no mistake about it. Especially given that, for the most part, you're talking about 2 or 3 work days during the course of an average week, overabundance of pay, and about half the folks, if not 3/4 of the folks that have gotten sent there these days are, well, let's put it this way, would not get to the $500 questions on are you smarter than a 5th grader. Okay, we'll leave it at that. In the meanwhile, we have an occupier in the White House who pretends to be the president, who pretends to be the commander-in-chief. And this man now says that he has the legal right to kill anybody anywhere in the world. And he is asking the court to legitimize that position. They intentionally use this very vague language. Why, ladies and gentlemen? Why would you intentionally use vague language? I've said before, dozens of times, in this modern age of politics, there is no longer any such thing as unintended consequences. These people have looked down the barrel of the gun long enough to know that if we word this way, this is something that's possible. We've got to watch out for it. This could happen. They still write the laws as specific as they want when it comes to certain sections, if that's their intended goal, and then as vague as they want when they know that they want some wiggle room down the road. We want to make it flowery, and we want to make it sound real good. And we want them there folks down in the South, them there crackers that are clinging to their guns and their Bibles, and they love the Jesus down there. And they're not just going to, well, you know, we got to ignore them folks, but we got to word it so that they won't understand it, but that it sounds innocent enough that if they do read it, that they'll think it'll be okay. And if you don't think they look down on us like that, why is it that I haven't heard any condemnation from anybody on the left for supposed journalist on MSNBC actually referring to Southern white men as crackers? I'm sorry. I'm from Tennessee. I'm from the South. I happen to be Caucasian. I don't have a racist bone in my body. I'm pretty socially liberal. I have a live and let live attitude. That's part of why I embrace a lot of the tenets of the Libertarian Party. There's just a couple of planks I have issues with. Otherwise, I would abandon the Republicans completely and join the Libertarians and be a full-on Libertarian guy. But I have issues with no restrictions at all on recreational drug use. That there is a huge public danger in that. You do not just hurt yourself through that action. You run the very real risk of hurting other people when you become an addict to opiate drugs. But beyond that, this concept that we ought to bring our military within our own borders and we only have to worry about what happens within our borders, I have a problem with that. But all that pushed aside, that has nothing to do with what we're talking about here. What we have to realize is at the end of the day, this is Obama asking the courts. This is the occupier pleading or sending someone else out to plead for him on his behalf, because he's certainly not going to do it. He's above pleading and begging and all this other stuff. And of course, well, he should be, after all. He is the occupier. But he's sending people out to plead for the courts to legitimize this idea that he and who knows what other high-ranking official, government official, doesn't even say elected. It's going to be somebody appointed. Some new Killing Americans czar. Look for it. It'll be coming up soon. They can just decide that the battlefield is anywhere. The battlefield today is in Pasadena, California. The battlefield tomorrow is in Ogden, Utah. The battlefield next week is, heaven forbid, Kingston, Tennessee. Oh no, we've got information that everybody wearing orange on a Saturday in September inside of Knoxville in this big stadium looking thing are all terrorists. Send in the drones. Boom, boom, bang, bang. Well, here at the press conference, all we're going to say is we believe them to be a threat. That is all. Good day. That doesn't sound like a person who cares about the Constitution. Not that that should surprise anybody. I think he has proven quite nicely at this point that he would rather wipe his backside with the Constitution than to pay any attention to the legal merit. This man is dangerous. He believes he can kill Americans with nothing more than the thought process that somebody's a threat. And he thinks he doesn't have to prove it. Food for thought, ladies and gentlemen. That's the show for tonight. Thanks for listening. Hope that you'll be back again real soon. Good night, everybody.